Okay, good morning. We're going to do things a little bit different this morning. Today we're using Filmic Pro to do the recording. This is at 4K in their Filmic Extreme bitrate. Not that I probably need it. It is at 30 frames a second instead of 60, and you may say, well, but, isn't faster better? Like, am I moving around that much? No. And 30 frames a second lets in twice as much light as 60, and that's a good thing. In this particular case, we are shooting in all natural light. You can tell we've kind of moved things around a little bit here to do that. It's okay in the room, but it's certainly not blasting. We've just got light off to the side underneath the deck, so it's all filtered morning light. If you like the records behind me, hey, thanks. These are, in every case, just a record that kind of struck me that was in the cube that it's now in front of. So no, let's go find the best records we can. These are some nice titles, but they are right where they were, except they've been pulled out so you can see them. This morning, just to show something different, we're going to show a few records that are sealed. I don't know about you, but when I'm out doing anything to try and find records, which I don't do that much anymore, if it's sealed and it looks as though it's okay and it doesn't cost very much, usually I would end up bringing it home. That would mean I'd bring home things that didn't necessarily interest me all that much, but hey, they were sealed, and so I felt I needed to bring them home and put them on my sealed shelf. Which in this case is kind of interesting because it turns out a lot of the records that I've come across that are sealed are classical titles, as though a person looked at it and said, I don't want that. Why'd you give me that for Christmas? And they sent it to the thrift store. I don't know. In any event, a lot of classic record titles end up showing up sealed. So I've got a pretty good selection of those. And the noise you hear means that my wife is upstairs pouring water. All right, and so we're going to start with this one. Jean-Pierre Rampal and orchestra doing the Brandenburg Concertos, Johann Sebastian Bach. It was an RCA Red Seal Best Buy at the time that I bought it. It's also a promo copy, not that that's easy to spot. So promo, sealed, sitting on the sealed shelf. Audio Fidelity, First Component Series. Beethoven Symphony No. 3, E-flat major. And here's where we get into trouble because I don't know how to say these names. Michael Gielen conducting the Vienna State Opera Orchestra. Again, sealed record. Leonard Bernstein doing what ultimately killed him. This is Symphonic Dances from West Side Story on the Deutsche Grammophon label. It is a digital, which will turn off a lot of people, but again, it was sealed, so I brought it home. There are a lot more classic titles in the sealed selection, but we're moving on to that Acapulco Gold, which is not as big a deal today as it was when I was growing up, because there are apparently many more interesting, potent blends these days than Acapulco Gold. This record, that Acapulco Gold, is by The Rainy Days. And I don't know that they're there anymore, but apparently they came out of Denver. So there you go, sealed. I don't really have to tell you anything about this guy. You've seen him around. Here's a copy of Give My Regards to Broad Street, still sealed. Nice to have. Steve Perry, Street Talk, sealed. Pablo Cruz, Out of Our Hands, also sealed. Now, I love that song, What a Feeling. And here's a copy of Irene Cara's What a Feeling, also sealed. And the last one, because boy, this one, if you have it in your collection and you have it sealed, I mean, now you're really talking. This is Donna Lauren, Beach Blanket Bingo. Hits from the Great American International Picture. And I believe I picked this up, of all places, during a trip that moved me through Montana. I believe this record was picked up in a Montana thrift store. And so there you have it, just a few records. Primarily, again, we're toying with the new iPhone 12 Pro Max camera, only in this case we're using Filmic Pro, which may result in my not looking so much like a strange pink thing and more like a flesh-colored thing. We can hope.